I'm going to be showing you the family tree of Count Dracula. Now, I've put Dracula in quotes because the figure that comes to mind when we think of Count Dracula was not actually a historical person. Rather, he's a character from the 1897 novel Dracula by author Bram Stoker. But it's generally thought that Bram Stoker based his character on this individual here, Vlad the Impaler, from a Romanian noble family known as the House of Draculești. Vlad was a real historical person, and in fact, his brother is one of the ancestors of the British royal family today. So I'm going to be explaining that connection as well. Let's start with Radu I, who lived about 650 years ago and was voivode of Wallachia. First of all, voivode is a title that is used in Eastern European countries and is somewhat equivalent to a duke or count. Second, Wallachia is a region in what is today Romania. If we look at the map, you'll see that it is close to Transylvania, a region associated with vampires, thanks again to Bram Stoker and his famous novel. It also bordered the Ottoman Empire, and therefore the individuals we're about to talk about often came into conflict with them. The house that Radu belonged to was called the House of Basarab, but after him, the house split into two branches. Two of his sons served as voivode after him, and the descendants of Dan I became known as the House of Danești, named after him. And the descendants of Mircea I became known as the House of Draculești, or in English, Dracula. Or in English, Dracula. From this point on, title of voivode of Wallachia would often go back and forth between these two branches of the family, but we're just going to look at the House of Draculești. Mircea had a son who became Vlad II. He grew up in the court of the Holy Roman Emperor Sigismund of Luxembourg. This particular Holy Roman Emperor created a noble order known as the Order of the Dragon, with the purpose of fighting against the Ottoman Empire during the Crusades. Vlad II was made a member of this order, and therefore the word Dracul was attached to his name, Dracul meaning dragon. This is where the house name Draculești comes from. Several of Vlad II's sons became voivode after him, but the most famous was Vlad III, known as Vlad the Impaler. This is the individual that Bram Stoker based his character Count Dracula on, albeit very loosely. Vlad the Impaler may not have been a vampire, but he was known for being extremely cruel and fond of brutal, bloody punishments.
Here occurred the frightening and shocking history of Prince Dracula and the woman he loved.
I have crossed oceans of time to find you.
Ja, Dracul.
There's a sinister, darker side to him I find irresistible. I have never met any man with such a passion for life. He is unlike any man. What are you?
Vampires do exist. This one we fight, this one we face, can take on many forms. He is both young and old. He can appear as mist, as vapor, as the fog. And he can vanish at will.
My love.
The power of his evil desire has no end.
You've got to go to him, and you've got to love him.
She is a willing recruit, a devoted disciple. She is the devil's concubine. Dagger!
Join me in eternal life.
Your salvation is his destruction.
I want to be what you are. I want to see what you see. I want to love what you love. Take me away from all this death.
Make no mistake, he must be stopped.
I don't know this language. What is this?
It's Turkish. How are you?
Nasalsin, alhamdulillah. I know Dubis Dum, but this is in German. This is not appropriate. So yes, alhamdulillah. Tashakkur udurin.
Sheikh, there are it's about my question about the Ottoman Empire. There are people, they praise it and see it like a good Islamic state, but there are also people and some shuyukhs and du'at, even they criticize them, speaking ill about it, and say that they made the war against Tawheed and so what should be our stance towards this empire?
Akhi, every period of time you have supporters and haters. Islam supports unity without any doubt. And the Ottoman Empire united the Muslims. Were there any things that were against Islam? Of course, every generation in time, till the hour is established, there will be exaggerations and things that are not according to Islam. But to be fair, they united the Muslims. They did a lot of good things. They spread Islam. Islam conquered a whole area of the land and established Sharia. And that's good. Now, what they say is challengeable. So if I come now and say, oh, this specific empire, this specific state, this specific government had this and this and this and this and this, who would verify it? I wasn't there, you weren't there. So we have to go to the books of history and we will find supporters and haters. Now, these people have long gone. They have no existence, none whatsoever. What is the benefit of sitting and drinking coffee or tea and criticizing Sultan Abdul Hamid al-Thani or this or that for what they had done? I didn't witness it. There is no benefit of doing this. And this would not stop there. It will go back until we find, and this is something that people are doing now, unfortunately. Ignorant imbeciles are discussing what had happened between Ali and Muawiyah, may Allah be pleased with them both. And the battle of the camel, and this and that. Akhi, what is this? Allah has saved our swords from participating in such fitna. Why would you indulge our tongues to speak in such a fitna? This is a waste of time, a waste of iman, and talking about something that is not beneficial.
There's one country in Europe that's devoted to our very own Prince Charles, and it's a case of mutual appreciation. Every year for over 2 decades, he sets off east to one of his favourite bolt holes. This is the story of Charles, Prince of Romania, or perhaps more aptly, Charles, Prince of Transylvania. His first trip was in 1998, and he now owns 10 properties in Transylvania and has established the Fundacja Prince de Wales, a foundation trust that helps preserve rural communities and traditional skills. Given the Prince's love of horticulture, architecture and agro-tourism, it's not surprising that Transylvania, home to Europe's last wild bears and wolves, caught his imagination. When he visits in the spring, the hay meadows are a colourful hive of activity, and the landscapes dotted with peasant villages and medieval fortifications. But the connection between Britain's future king and this nation on the eastern edge of the EU runs far deeper than the restorative powers of Romania's landscape. When over there, Prince Charles regularly talks up his direct bloodline with the country's most famous anti-hero. That's right, Vlad the Impaler, renowned for the bloodthirsty treatment of his enemies and thought to be the inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula, is apparently the Prince of Wales's 16 times removed grandfather. But the most spectacular of all his Romanian connections was Romania's Queen, Marie, a 20th century tour de force. It's striking that she was famous for refusing to wear rubber gloves when visiting the typhus-infected soldiers, just as Princess Diana made headlines when she publicly touched AIDS victims. Over the years as our future king, Charles has had to meet some pretty unsavoury people, including Romania's former dictator Nicolae Ceausescu, when he came on a state visit to Buckingham Palace in 1978. But within 10 years of that rendezvous, Charles had turned his ire on Ceausescu, a prince known for his spidery missives. In 1989, he openly condemned the tyrant's systematic destruction of Romania's historic villages. Opposition not without danger. Charles would write, "I hope you receive this before some frightful undercover agent stabs me in the left buttock with a poisoned umbrella." The owner of several authentic Transylvanian properties, in the exquisite Saxon stronghold of Viscri, Romanian tourists on the trail of Charles are now so numerous, locals have started to complain. But in general, the country loves him. In 2017, the president awarded him one of Romania's highest honours, Steaua Romaniei, the Star of Romania. Back in Highgrove, Charles has apparently sown a Transylvanian hay meadow, and during lockdown on Videolink, he addressed Britain's large Romanian diaspora who were unable to return home for their Orthodox Easter. If you visit Romania, don't be surprised if you're asked about our British Charles and his Romanian habit.